wanted for hazardous journey. Low wages, bitter cold, long hours of complete darkness. This is the ad that allegedly appeared in the Times when Sir Ernest Shackleton decided to build a crew for his famous Antarctic expedition. Even though the ad might just be a myth, the journey itself became one of the greatest survival stories of all time. His new daring idea for a hazardous journey gained so much attention from newspapers that soon Sir Shackleton had a crowd of volunteers knocking at his door. He carefully selected only 27 of them, and oh boy did he choose wisely. They were men of steel, no doubt, knowing what a huge goal they set for themselves. With those men, Ernest Shackleton intended to reach Antarctica and cross the whole continent via the South Pole. Not exactly a walk in the park, if you ask me. On December 5, 1914, they left the shores of South Georgia in a ship called Endurance. Endurance was one of the best ships of its time to deal with ice. She had a sturdy hull, an 85-inch thick keel, and a 350 horsepower steam engine. With all that might, she could ram and break tons of ice with ease. But still, she had one crucial weakness. She was designed to crush the ice, but not to sustain being trapped in it. If she would ever get caught by ice building up around her and pushing with all its weight, she would be crushed by the immense pressure. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. This was a bad year for crossing the icy waters of Weddell Sea. At first, Endurance was managing the drifting ice easily. But on January 18th, it finally overcame her. Huge slabs of drifting ice, called pack ice, have an unpredictable nature. It comes and goes and can turn into a small iceberg in just several days. So this ice is one of the most dangerous kinds imaginable. But by the 24th of January, it was obvious that the pressure on the ship's hull would only get worse. The next few days, the crew tirelessly crushed and sawed off the ice around Endurance with their own hands. The only hope for Endurance was if it could stay undamaged until spring. Passing the winter on a ship trapped in ice is no joke. The pressure on the ship's hull was rising, just like the pressure on the seaman's will. If not for Sir Shackleton's skill of managing his crew, this story might have ended right here. But they believed in their captain, who they referred to simply as Boss. He sustained discipline on his ship by implementing a stable routine for each and every crew member. Everyone stayed busy, brightening each day with some kind of fulfillment. They even found a way to play soccer on the ice around the ship. Everyone on the ship knew that their one hope in such a dire situation was Sir Shackleton's command, so their spirit remained untouched. Despite all the effort of shoveling new ice and snow building up around the ship, the pressure on the ship only rose. Spring didn't bring the much-needed relief for the Endurance. From time to time, the crew would hear unpleasant crackles and shock sounds. At first, Shackleton said it was whales passing underneath the ice, but everybody knew that the ship may soon start to crumble. Summer came and went, only to bring more young ice. On October 27th, Shackleton ordered his men to abandon ship, which was already heavily damaged. He promised the crew that he would bring them home, saying it in the most simple and encouraging way he could. "We're going home." But notes in his diary reveal his uncertainty. The task is to reach land with all the members of the expedition. It's hard to write how I feel. The camp was settled about a mile away from the ship. The crew still had some supplies and 3 lifeboats, but the resources were limited and they were isolated from the world, drifting on ice across the Weddell Sea with no means to get more food. On November 21, 1915, Endurance is finally crushed and buried under the ice, much like the hope of fulfilling the goal of the expedition.